Finally, Battlefield 2042 has shown us some Portal gameplay. Brand new trailer released with a look at all of the remade maps, as well as some guns, vehicles, and a massive blog that shows you the process and details everything that you can change in your Battlefield Portal server. So there's a lot of stuff here. We're going to get stuck in. Let's take a look at everything now. So the trailer starts off on Battle of the Bulge. This is a BF 1942 map, and what we're seeing here is 2042 versus 1942 soldiers. Just something cool about the stark contrast of seeing near future weaponry and gadgets in that old World War II environment. Different perspective here, this time from a 1942 soldier. This is the anti-tank class from the game. As you can see in the bottom right, they've only got the bazooka equipped and a pistol. So in Portal, you can pick the original classes from the respective games. I love how you can see the Spitfire flying around in the background too. And then on to El Alamein. This was a big vehicle map in 1942, and it looks like DICE have stuck to their guns with this one. You can see at least 8 tanks here on the mini map, and then at the end 2 massive B-17 bombers come in to decimate the battlefield. These things were awesome in 1942. They did have 3 positions back then. Be interesting to see if they've added more or kept it the same. And next we're on to the really good stuff. Valparaiso on Bad Company 2. Look at this. How awesome does this look? DICE really flexing their artistic prowess here. Terrain detail, explosives, lighting, destruction, looking great. Casper here using a new sniper rifle as well, the NTW-50. I'd imagine that this will be one of the late game unlocks for snipers. Can't wait to play this level. And the next clip too, Jeep stuff. Beautiful jump from the quad bike there into the BMD3. Boom. And then next, Arica Harbour, 2042 versus Bad Company 2. We've got the little bird, the Black Hawk in the background, and also, as we get up onto the roof here, Russian engineer. That character skin looking good. Love that RPG on the back there. Then on to No Shot Canals from BF3. This is the POV from a hovercraft making their way into the container area. And you can see the 2042 jet there chasing down the Su-35, which is the BF3 jet, and also up in the sky here, the Mi-28 Havoc. That's the Russian attack helicopter. And then we switch to the perspective of a Russian BF3 engineer with the AKS-74U. Looks like they've got a laser attachment on there too. Be cool if you could use the plus system or configure these older weapons. And it's just awesome to see the original BF3 classes remade and all polished up with their next gen models here with the assault class, the support, and the engineer in the background. And then finally, a little clip of Caspian Border, BF3 engineer again here with the ASVAL, taking out Woody McKay, switching to the RPG and blowing up that transport vehicle. What's interesting here too is that on the UI, flak pops up for a second, and that was a specialization in BF3 that helped to protect you from explosive damage, so looks like those could be in the game as well. And sadly, as we're accustomed to, that's it for the gameplay trailer. It was quite short, just like all the other ones were, but we did get a massive blog that we're going to take a look at now that details everything that you can change in Portal, the systems in place, how to build your own experiences, and some of the limitations of the service too. Starting at launch, we'll have default experiences live in-game that allow you to relive these classic maps alongside their classic factions, equipped with the weapons, gadgets, and classes that brought them to life. So at launch, there will be some modes here that you can play already that DICE have curated. You'll be able to jump right into these modes from inside the game, or if you prefer, you can use these experiences as starting points that you can edit to create something more personal. You could make simple edits to weapon loadouts, tag in more maps to the rotation, or you can start to tweak things as finely detailed as bullet velocity, health regenerates, and if a player takes more damage when they're hit in the head or to the torso. There's a lot of stuff here that you can change. And if you want to go all out and start to create something truly unique, the rules editor will provide you the deepest level of control over the kind of Battlefield experience that you wish to create. And this is a logic editor, essentially. We'll take a look at it later. So how do you build a Battlefield Portal experience? Well, you do it on a website, and this is super cool. You don't need to own the game or buy the game to actually build something. As long as you've got an EA account, you can just log in and start creating. Obviously, if you want to try it, you'd have to purchase the game, but you could build something, share it with people, let others try it, or just mess about if that's what you enjoy. You'll be given a share code as well, so I suppose that's an easy way for people to share the things that they've made. And this is how the homepage will look, where you can see everything that you've made, and you'll also be able to browse a range of pre-made experiences crafted by the teams at Ripple Effect. And as we said earlier, you can modify these templates as a starting point if you wish to tweak a few things, make your own server. You then start by picking the game mode. At the moment, at launch, you can choose from Conquest Large, Conquest, Rush, Free-for-all, or Team Deathmatch. You then pick the map rotation, and you can go for all of the 128 player maps in BF 2042 if you pick Conquest Large, and that means that if you're on PC, PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, you can choose those 128 player maps. On old gen, you're limited to 64. And this is super cool as well. They've set out some smaller variants of existing maps that will give a bit of variety to the system. So if you find a particular area that Ripple Effect and DICE have crafted on one of these maps that you think is a great size or location for gun game, free-for-all, team deathmatch, you could pick that. If you want to, you can take the No Shark Canals container area and crank it up to 128 players. No option to create your own parts of the map yet. Love to see that in the future. Next up is your game mode details. So before you get into applying modifiers, this is the core section of the builder that invites you to change the fundamental rules of the game mode that you're building. So for example, you can make adjustments to the maximum number of human players you want in your experience. You want 64, you want 40, full 128, you can do that. You can also decide if you want bots or not. There's more on that in a little bit. You'll be able to modify the game time, the reinforcement multiplier, the reinforcements removed per kill, as well as per squad character limit up to a maximum of 4, and the rules for squad spawning. So you could do a BF2 style mode where you can only spawn on squad leader, for example. And then you've got some gameplay modifiers here. So we've got stuff like friendly fire on and off. You can do it per team as well. You can have extreme weather events on and off. You can choose if there are stationary weapons. Do you want the classic soldier weapon tuning? So I think that means they've got separate tuning presets per game and they've balanced it for each game. I would imagine like you could have a BF3 balance, BC2 balance. You can also turn off aim assist zoom snap. You can change things like projectile speed, global damage, headshot damage, body shot damage, and there's an option that allows you to determine if a player's weapon and ammo drops. So you could have ammo only or nothing dropping on a kill at all. So you can make a proper hardcore mode here if you wanted to. You can then start to manage the behavior of infantry on the servers, so you can affect how players move, what they can do. There are 9 on and off toggles here. Is prone allowed? Can you strafe while sprinting? If you want a classic BC2 experience, turn that off. Can you sprint? Can you ADS? They've got health regen, traversal sprint, that's the tactical sprint where you double tap shift or double tap sprint and you go faster in 2042. Disable that if you don't like it. Do you not like sliding? A lot of people don't. Turn it off. Do you want squad revives to be on or off? And this here too, the man down type field will allow you to choose from downed, crawl, unique to hazard zone, and instant death. So you can change how it is when you die. So I guess you could have a game of Conquest where if you get killed, you can crawl around and potentially be revived before you're finished off. And then of course there's vehicle customization, so you can turn vehicle health regen on or off. You can adjust the spawn delay, the maximum health of the vehicles, the health regeneration rates. You can choose if you want no combat vehicles at all. Do you want only on-foot call-ins using the tablet? Do you want deploy menu only? Do you want on-foot call and deploy menu? Do you just want spawn on map? You can then adjust the UI for everyone, turn on and off the compass, the minimap, the heads-up display, plus menu, ally identification, so that's the blue dot. Again, you could make a proper realism mode with this if you wanted. And then there's artificial intelligence, so AI is in BF 2042. And it says here, depending on whether or not you maxed out the player count in earlier modes, you have the option here to determine how bots can be leveraged to enhance the experience of your crafting. After deciding whether or not you want bots active in your experience, you can then define if you want to set bots as PvE or PvP. And then you can also synchronize your settings with the options that you've set for human players. That means that if you've made it so human players can't sprint, you can tick a box that says bots can't sprint as well. So if you wanted to, for the AI, you could just mimic the parameters and restrictions that you put on the human players. You can also change the damage of the AI, the difficulty of them, the health that they have, their movement speed. So if you wanted to, you could make some Giga Chad AI, 4 of you versus 124, see if you can beat them. And then you can start to determine the teams, and this will pick which eras of Battlefield will play in your experience. And you can actually have the factions change across the map rotation. Next up is characters. Depending on what you chose in the previous section, you'll be able to deselect which classes or 2042 specialists are playable. You'll also have the option to denote which factions show up in-game. UK, US and German are available for 1942, with the game appropriate versions of the US and Russia available for the rest. Moving on to weapons, in total there are over 75 weapons available across the entire experience of Battlefield Portal at launch. So here you'll have the ability to manage what weapons are available. If both teams are from the same era, you can also make use of our unlinked teams function to customize exactly which weapons each team is gaining access to. You can also select attachments which you want turned on and off. If you don't want frag rounds, wave goodbye to them. You don't want suppressors, disable them. And you can customize this per gun, which is pretty insane. You can also define which vehicles that you want. Do you hate attack helicopters? Turn them off. And then of course there's restrictions on gadgets. You can choose which ones you want, which ones you don't. So that's the basics. And like I said, there are some templates here that it looks like you can just click, go with them if you want that vanilla experience, or start to tweak things a bit. And then the next level of this is the rules editor. This is a logic editor. It looks a lot like Scratch or Blockly. And here you can start to build out the scripting that governs the conditions and behaviors of your experience. This is the really complicated stuff, and this is where the super smart people will be able to build different game modes that have really unique elements to them. If you're a bit confused about what this stuff is, you can right click on it in the browser and it will show you the behavior of that specific function and share some insight on how to use it. You can also duplicate templates and then build off them like you can with the main editor. If you need some help, then the URL that's active while viewing your experience in this is reflective of the current state of your mode. So you can save your experience and then send the hyperlink to a friend. Maybe they're a bit smarter than you, maybe they've got an idea, they'll be able to work on it independently of you. They could save what they've done, send it back to you if you need a bit of help. And then when you're ready to publish whatever you've made, you can create a title and description and generate an experience code. You then use this in-game, or you can share it with others so they can start up their own servers that run your experience. And then when it's published, the game will help to validate that the server is good to go and assign it with a selection of appropriate tags. So people can search for tags and go, hey, I want to play a small experience which is a bit crazy. I want to play RPGs only, vehicles only. Show me what you got. Then it goes on about featured experiences. If all this seems a little overwhelming, don't worry. We'll be regularly publishing, updating and rotating featured experiences inside Portal that you'll be able to quick match directly into. When you're looking for something more bespoke, you can tab over to the server browser to search for the perfect Battlefield Portal server. I think that's the first time they've ever mentioned that. So it looks like Portal will have a server browser. And if you're looking to check your loadout across the classic BF experiences, a bespoke set of collection menus will allow you to set up your loadout similar to how you can in All Out Warfare. You've also got the ability to broadcast messages on the server, kick players, ban players, unban players, restart the map, next map, take down the server. And also this time, unlike BF1 and 5, the ban list is specific to your profile. So if you ban someone, they won't be able to join anything that you make until you unban them. And then wrapping up finally, the only bit of this that I'm a bit sad about, I suppose, and I think that Portal really needs this in the future. If it's not going to have it at launch, they need to have this because it's a key component of Battlefield and the Battlefield community. The server will remain active so long as there's one human player on the server. Once that's no longer true, the server will shut down. Be sure to share your experiences to your friends if you're keen to keep the server active and searchable for friends to join. This is a bit disappointing because, as I said, persistent servers are a key component of Battlefield community. Finding that server that you can regularly play on with the same people, that has a group of moderators, a place where you can make friends, you know it's a good map rotation, you like the rules on there, you like the people, and it's always there and somewhere you can come back to. So it's a shame that these experiences, once you build them, will die once there's no one left on them, and it seems a bit counterintuitive to me. I understand why DICE can't let millions of players on day one create a server for free and just have it stay there and never shut down. That's too expensive. I don't even know if they've got the capacity to do that. So I get why this is a thing, but I really think that at some point in the future, DICE need to offer some way, whether that's a paid service, to let people have a server that is persistent. It needs to have this. So please, DICE, at some point, give people the option to pay a fee, whatever it is, to have a persistent server, because that's what you need. And it's a shame that someone could create an amazing experience. Yes, they could share it, but if no one can find their server or see it, no one's ever going to get to play on it, and it's not going to be a persistent thing that lives in the community. So it's a shame. You've created all these awesome tools, but without persistence, it's not really living up to its potential. So that's all for Portal. Love the customization. I'm excited for the possibilities of this in the future down the line. Love that you can modify stuff, script stuff. People are going to make some crazy things with this. It's a shame about the persistence. I think it needs it. And also I'd love to see some kind of map editing or geometry placement where you could put something in the level and assign logic to it, like an MCOM or a flag or an objective, something like that. at least the option to define a play space within a level rather than the ones that the game is offering to us already. But we'll have to wait and see what people do with this. 9 days until early access launch, not long to wait at all. With that said, thank you for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.